The transportation landscape is on the brink of a seismic shift, thanks to Tesla's ambitious plans for a robotaxi network. Elon Musk has literally staked the entire company's future on this venture, aiming to transform Tesla into not just an automotive manufacturer, but an AI and robotics powerhouse. The reveal of the Tesla Cybercab and Robovan, two planned autonomous vehicles, a 2-seater and a 20-seater, with no steering wheels, no pedals, no door handles, and everything about them is automated, wasn't just for show, it was a declaration of intent. Elon Musk has projected that this innovation could significantly disrupt the current ride-hailing economy, and Uber, being the #1 player in the space, is right in Tesla's crosshairs. I made a video 5 years ago asking how is it possible that Uber was a larger company than Tesla back then. Uber had a market cap of $59 billion, and Tesla was worth just $43 billion. Since then, Uber has done quite well, up 2.8 times to $160 billion. But during the same time period, Tesla rose 16 times and today resides at $700 billion. It's about 4.5 times the size of Uber right now. But with self-driving cars on the horizon, how will things change moving forward? Will Uber be crushed by Tesla, or will they do just fine in a world of robotaxis? After Tesla's Cybercab and Robovan unveil, Tesla stock crashed 8%, while Uber stock skyrocketed 10%, suggesting that the market thinks robotaxis won't be here for a while. Analysts at Jefferies Financial Group even called Tesla's event the best case outcome for Uber, citing that Tesla was light on details and failed to give verifiable evidence of progress. I think this take is completely wrong. Not only is Tesla further ahead than we think, see my last video, a must-watch on Tesla's hidden roadmap, but I think Uber may be able to survive the self-driving vehicle onslaught. Uber is well aware of the many risks to their business model, including low barriers to entry with low switching costs. And yet they have 7.4 million drivers who enabled 2.7 billion trips in just the second quarter of this year. That's 3 months, which was 21% higher than the previous year. Now, in order to keep ahead of competitors, Uber closely monitors fares and will lower them if needed to keep their prices competitive. And they give fairly large consumer discounts and promotions to keep people on their platform. After all, Uber is really just a network that connects drivers, shippers, and carriers to consumers and merchants around the world. And networks are quite powerful. They're not as easy to break up as they may suggest by saying that there are low switching costs. The company is set up and geared towards ride sharing and delivery, and they have tons of experience doing it. Even if you copied their app exactly, it would be extremely difficult to get anywhere close to the number of drivers and customers that they have. And Uber is also fairly aggressive with their investments in competitors and their partnerships, as they're watching the industry very closely. They have equity stakes in other rideshare companies and even vehicle companies, like Chinese company Didi, which does ride sharing, and Joby, which is working on actual flying cars. And they're also no stranger to self-driving vehicles, having partnerships with Waymo and Cruise, at least Waymo. Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi notes, if there are many AV providers, the marketplace will have a very strong position. Indicating Uber's intent to remain at the forefront of the mobility revolution no matter which direction it takes. Now, I think that Tesla has a massive advantage as they enter the autonomous vehicle space over the next few years. Although Tesla is building the Tesla Network app, which will be quite similar to Uber, Tesla's main goal is to disrupt the entire transportation industry with low-cost electric vehicles that will absolutely crash the cost per mile of driving. And this includes the price of the vehicle, and the maintenance, and the fuel, etc., the total cost per mile, which ARK Invest estimates will be about 2/3 cheaper than even personal vehicles today. And with Tesla's Robovan, this can drop to as low as 5 to 10 cents per mile per person. Perhaps that would be a truly game changer for long-distance carpooling. Today, when you pay for an Uber ride, Approximately 70% of the cost doesn't even go to Uber. It goes to the driver, and they need to pay for their own fuel, insurance, maintenance, repairs, car payments, everything related to the upkeep of a personal vehicle. Not to mention that they're taking time out of their day to drive people around. It's even crazier for deliveries at Uber, where they're basically charging 5 times more than their own revenue to deliver items. In other words, they're only getting about 18% of what they charge within the app. The rest goes to the merchants or drivers, again, just for delivery. This is insane when you think about it. Gross bookings in the second quarter were $40 billion. And of that money, Uber made $10 billion in revenue. Again, that's before any costs. That means in a single quarter, just for Uber, drivers are making $30 billion just to move people and boxes of food around. But being an Uber driver for most people isn't the most lucrative of jobs. After all expenses are paid for, there isn't much left given the time it takes to pick people up and parcels up and drop them off. Most of it is actually going towards the upkeep of the car itself. The real winners are the car companies, the dealerships, the gas stations, oil producers, service centers, insurance companies, etc. All the downstream businesses that capitalize on your car. And so this is really what Tesla's autonomous vehicles are trying to undertake. They're not exactly going after Uber, and they're not even going after the drivers themselves. Tesla plans to tackle the expenses that the drivers need to pay and giving them back their time. This is true for ride-sharing, but also individual and commercial ownership of vehicles. Also, it's important to note, as previously mentioned, that Uber still has many expenses. The bonuses and incentives they pay comes from their own revenue. There's insurance and safety costs. They run the technology infrastructure, the servers, and maintain the software. They provide support, and also pay compliance and regulatory fees. And so there's costs to running the business. And if Tesla replicates Uber's business model, they would have to pay these things as well. Interestingly, Uber divides the company into 3 core segments: mobility, which is ride sharing for people and is the most profitable. Deliveries are surprisingly not as profitable given the higher markup percentage, but the trips are a lot less. And then Uber Freight, their commercial division, which actually loses money right now. And let's not forget that Tesla's semi-truck will have the same effects on commercial as Robotaxi has on consumer. Now imagine owning a Tesla Cybercab, a $25,000 to $30,000 vehicle designed specifically to reduce annual maintenance, to have low fuel costs and a high efficiency, and it works for you while you're relaxing on the couch or when you're working a day job. If Tesla's Cybercab undercuts a regular vehicle by 66% or more, that's going from 70 cents a mile to under 25 cents a mile, you're right away essentially giving back tens of billions of dollars to drivers and to end customers themselves. This is immensely beneficial to the economy and to people and families. What are they going to do with all those extra savings? Well, for one thing, the cost of trips and deliveries are going to crash, so they're going to be purchasing more rides. Everything will be delivered by Robotaxi or Robovan because it will be dirt cheap, so more people will use the service. Counterintuitively, there'll be more money flowing into ride-hailing businesses because it will be taken away from other, more expensive modes of transportation. Why would I ever take the bus or public transit if I have to walk 15 minutes in the rain, wait for 20 minutes, make 1 or 2 connections, and then call someone to pick me up from the bus stop? A robotaxi is point-to-point and will indeed cost less than a bus ticket. And as Tesla, you can actually pay the owner of a robotaxi much less per ride because they're no longer physically driving you, and the number of rides that their car itself will do will multiply by 5 to 10 times. And it more closely resembles the shift from in-store shopping to using Amazon, which still has massive growth for a multi-trillion-dollar company. By the way, imagine how much their business will benefit from robotaxi deliveries with the Robovan, and maybe Optimus does the final street to porch. Amazon's going to be first in line at Tesla ordering these products. But essentially, everyone in the Uber ecosystem makes less money per ride, but the pie gets significantly larger, which means they all make more money overall. Consider that the Uber pie could grow from $40 billion to $100 billion per quarter. A company like Uber would make $33 billion now in revenue versus the previous $10 billion. Robotaxi owners would take home, say, $33 billion versus $10 billion because expenses per ride have dropped with electric and autonomous vehicles. Everyone is happier and this is all great, except for one small thing. Tesla gets a cut for providing the service. If they take a 30% fee, that's 30% off the entire gross bookings, or $30 billion. This breaks down the model a little bit, since where does the money come from? Technically, the robotaxi owners would be paying this, but that's virtually all the money that they're making. And what are they really paying for? Well, they're paying to join the Tesla network, but they're also paying to be on the Uber network, which is a little redundant, since they really do the same thing. So there's a disincentive here, or a driving force, to get off of the Uber network to avoid paying redundant fees, and just use the Tesla network to match robotaxi owners, which Tesla already knows all of them, to a customer base, which Tesla needs to build up. Half the equation is already solved, and customers will want to join the Tesla network to get rides for, let's say, 70% cheaper than what Uber was before. If only there was a single-letter social media network to help get the word out. But what happens to Uber? The drivers are leaving because they have low-cost robotaxis and don't want to pay redundant fees to both Tesla and Uber, and the customers are leaving to get much better prices elsewhere. And Uber's network is mainly expensive gas cars right now, expensive to maintain and expensive to fuel. And so Uber's crazy plan is something that I think they will be forced into. They can't compete with Tesla directly because they don't make cheap electric cars. They don't make cars. And so the inevitable will happen. And it was said years ago by Uber's founder, Travis Kalanick, which is that when Tesla robotaxis become available, Uber will buy 500,000 of them and run their own autonomous fleet. They really don't have much of a choice here. Now, their current drivers are major assets today, but in a sense will become a liability. Luckily for Uber, they're not considered employees, and so Uber won't need to fire them, but will instead let them go. But I don't think there's going to be a big downside risk for Uber here. The drivers and customers will initially want to leave on their own, and at the same time, Uber doesn't even want the drivers and won't need them if they have their own fleet. And so in order to keep the customers, Uber will have to match Tesla's cheap pricing. At the same time, I don't think Tesla will destroy Uber at all. I don't think Tesla should even consider doing that. Instead, the opposite will be true. They will help Uber. Uber will become a Tesla partner, in the same way that each and every robotaxi owner is in partnership with Tesla. Tesla will have disrupted Uber, yes, but not at all destroyed Uber. If anything, Uber may become more profitable than ever, and will be a key driver in making Tesla more profitable than ever as well, as 30% of their revenue will be going to Tesla. Elon Musk said at the Robotaxi Unveil event that anyone will be able to buy the Cybercab and Robovan and add it to Tesla's network. Tesla needs that to expand its network. They'll get 30% from every owner-operator, Uber, Lyft, individuals, small company fleets, everything. And the market will expand dramatically as the cost per ride crashes rather quickly. And even if Tesla manages their own fleet, which they will for sure not undercut their partners. That would be bad for Tesla. Instead, they'll keep their own prices at the same level as everyone else, which will make their own fleet very profitable. And so the biggest winners in a robotaxi world will be Tesla, along with robotaxi owners, which may include Uber. Customers will win by saving literally billions of dollars collectively per quarter. And the biggest losers will be those with ICE cars. Mass robotaxis will absolutely crush ICE cars. It will be the nail in the coffin. People don't realize what's coming. They think if electric vehicles are the demise of gas cars, and that isn't really happening as fast as they think, so it seems like it's no longer a threat. But autonomous electric cars sinks the cost of transportation for everyone. It will be significantly cheaper to call a robotaxi than it will be to drive your own gas car. That's not true today comparing Uber versus a personal car. Uber is more expensive and a little less convenient. Try making every single one of your trips in an Uber, and you'll either be paying way more or driving way less. So while Uber's inevitable plan to transform itself into a robotaxi delivery, ride-hailing, freight-moving supplier will likely save the company, not only allowing for its survival, but perhaps making it more profitable than ever, it's really the gas cars that are about to face an existential threat. Watch my last video on Tesla's more affordable compact car EV slated for 2025. I think it's a must watch. Your job is to follow me on X at TMIOTesla, buy my new shirt in the description below. Please hit the like button and subscribe, we would really appreciate that. And a huge shout out to all of our patrons that help to support our channel. Your support helps us to continue to make great content. Thank you guys so much for watching.